Namaskar. Today we will be learning about the IRS point machine internal parts. This presentation deals with all the internal parts that are available in the IRS point machine used in railway signaling system. This is the basic introduction as you have seen with a point machine laid out in a layout, the internal parts of the point machine. What are the different slides? This we have already discussed in external also. So internal, these slides are visible for us. They are the throw slide. These two are lock slides. One is for normal lock. The other one is a reverse side. Similarly, detection slides are there. This is one is called the normal detection rod slide, and the other one is called the reverse detection slide. Internal parts, what are the most important points? They are bearing pedestal. There will be two numbers. Locking and throw assembly. This assembly is used for changing rotary to linear conversion mechanism, and a locking sector is also available. Transmission assembly with the friction clutch. This is again an assembly, is nothing but a combination of many parts. First one, throw and locking and throw assembly. The second one is your transmission assembly, and it is also having a friction clutch. Next you have reduction gear assembly. This is used to reduce the speed of the motor to the required level. Next we have contact assembly, which has spring loaded rollers. You have a motor and again a crank handle assembly. We will now go to each part and see what they are. So this is your bearing pedestal. There are two numbers. One is provided here and the other provided inside. It is used to hold the friction clutch in the housing. So this whole friction clutch as a total assembly is used to hold on this bearing pedestal. Generally in layman terms it is also called as mechanical fuse. इसको मैकेनिकल फ्यूज भी कहते हैं, क्योंकि जब कोई पॉइंट ट्रेल थ्रू हो गया, यानी पॉइंट रॉन्ग साइड सेटिंग है और कोई गाड़ी पीछे से आ गई, देन ट्रेल थ्रू में आ गई, ट्रेलिंग डायरेक्शन में आई विथ पॉइंट सेट इन रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन, अगर पॉइंट गलत साइड से सेट हुआ है तो उस टाइम पे ये बेरिंग पेडेस्टल जो है अपना पूरा लोड ले लेगा एंड योर पॉइंट मशीन इज सेव्ड, ये ब्रेक हो जाएगा और जितना भी टेंशन है वो रिलीज हो जाएगा. So this is also, that is why called as mechanical fuse. It gets damaged first when the point is trailed through, thus producing damage to the point machine. कोई भी डिरेल डिटेंशन ट्रेल थ्रू पॉइंट हुआ है तो आपको पॉइंट मशीन ओपन करके ये पार्ट्स को चेक करना पड़ेगा कि ये डैमेज हुआ है या नहीं. जनरली इस कंडीशन में ये डैमेज होता है और नेक्स्ट रॉड्स जो भी है वो भी डैमेज होने की चांसेस ज्यादा है. This throw and lock assembly, it is used for rotary to linear conversion mechanism. Rotary to linear conversion mechanism. आपके पॉइंट मशीन के द्वारा ये रोटरी मूवमेंट होता है. दिस इज योर लॉकिंग सेक्टर. ये इस लॉकिंग सेक्टर में आके आपको पॉइंट को लॉक भी करेगा. सो दिस इज योर रोटरी टू लीनियर रैक एंड पिनियन अरेंजमेंट में होता है. लॉकिंग सेक्टर इज यूज्ड to lock the point by entering into the block slides. So this is your locking sector. It is a part of your transmission assembly. This is your transmission assembly. This is an internal part. This is placed between motor and load. So motor इसके ऊपर movement रहेगा and this is connected to your load. What are the functions of a friction clutch? It is mainly used to protect the motor from overload, to achieve mechanical or dynamic snubbing. So पॉइंट स्मूथ ऑपरेशन के लिए आफ्टर कंप्लीटिंग द ऑपरेशन वो स्मूथ स्टॉपिंग रहना है जिसको कहते हैं स्नबिंग. सो दिस इज अचीव्ड मैकेनिकली ओनली एंड टू फॉलो द सीक्वेंस ऑफ पॉइंट ऑपरेशन. अगर इस पार्ट को हम ओपन करेंगे तो किस तरह से वो दिखेगा आपको. लेट अस सी दैट वन. So this is how the friction clutch internally is available. This is your control disc. This is your control disc. This is your lift out disc. This is your slip rim. ये slip rim इसके अंदर रहेगा. This is your main gear or gear rim. There is a bolt connecting between drive and control disc. Drive and control disc. All this is here you can see. यहाँ पे ये सेट हो जाएगा, बोल्ट सेट हो जाएगा. एंड दिस इज योर लॉकिंग सेक्टर एंड रैक एंड पिनियन अरेंजमेंट. दिस इज कनेक्टेड टू योर रैक. What is the sequence of operation when a point is operated? So the sequence starts with here breaking of detection contacts. Whenever point is operated, जब point को operate किया जाता है तो point का detection contacts पहले break होगा. Then unlocking of point, operation of point. After complete operation, locking of point takes place, and once a point is set properly, then detection contacts are made. This is the sequence of operation. Whenever point is operated, this sequence is followed, and that is possible because of your transmission assembly. This is your friction clutch. Inside यहाँ पे it comprises of a drive disc, gear rim and slip rim. So this is your slip rim inside. Shoe expansion or locking plate. So this is your shoe expansion and locking plate है ये. Then there is a helical spring. यहाँ पे you can see one bolt here. This is used to increase the pressure, current को increase करने के लिए. This is only done at the workshop. Location पे हम नहीं करेंगे. This has to be done by the workshop only. Now let us go with drive disc. This is a part of your transmission assembly. Functions of your drive disc. So this is your drive disc. Extend movement to shaft, hence rotate pinion and lock pawl. So this extension is done with the help of your drive disc. Restrict rotary movement to 270 degrees and provide snubbing. Hold gear rim on outer periphery and convert rotary movement into linear motion. These are all the works of your drive disc. Lift out disc. So in this lift out disc, this is the first disc to rotate in the friction clutch. First disc to rotate in the friction clutch means when your point operation starts, generally you can observe it only when you do it using a crank handle. क्रैंक हैंडल जब आप यूज करेंगे तो आपको ये पता चलेगा कि ये पहला डिस्क है जो मूवमेंट शुरू होता है और इट विल लिफ्ट द टॉप रोलर लिफ्ट करने में ये हेल्प करती है जिससे आपका डिटेक्शन कॉन्टैक्ट ओपन हो जाता है. व्हेन यू इन द previous slide I have told you about sequence of point operation. In that sequence of point operation, opening of detection contacts is the first work that it is done. That is because of lift out disc. Now this is your control disc. It is a control disc with notch on outer periphery. Edges of the notch are vertical. So this is vertical. इसके पहले आप जो देखे थे लिफ्ट आउट डिस्क उसका स्लैंटिंग था, but this one is vertical. The roller comes and falls directly with pressure. What are the functions of the control disc? Allow the top roller A to fall inside respective notch at the end of the friction clutch rotation. सो पूरा रोटेशन कंप्लीट होने के बाद टॉप रोलर जो है इसमें डायरेक्टली गिरने के लिए ये हेल्प होती है। अपवर्ड मूवमेंट प्रिवेंट भी करती है। दिस विल हेल्प इन प्रिवेंटिंग अपवर्ड मूवमेंट ऑफ द टॉप रोलर। This is the inner view, this is the outer view of your control disc. This is your friction clutch parts, inside parts. This is your helical spring. This is your shoe expansion along with your locking plate, main gear rim और slip rim. This slip rim is available here. यहाँ पे रहता है वो slip rim. So what are the features, friction clutch of features क्या है? It extends stroke from motor to load if load is within specified limit, generally less than or equal to 580 kgs per as per RDS4 norms. Generally this is adjusted to around 450 kgs, 400 to 450 kgs के बीच में adjust करते हैं। ये नट जो है ये नट को यूज करते हुए वर्कशॉप वाले इस प्रेशर जो प्रेशर दे रही है यहाँ पे इसको एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं। नट से स्प्रिंग का प्रेशर चेंज होगा। जनरली 400 to 450 के बीच में इसको लगाएंगे। Declutch motor and load, that is it will separate the motor and load if load is more than the specified limit. So whenever there is any obstruction in a point machine or you provide a wedge टेस्ट पीस उस टाइम पे दोनों डीक्लच हो जाएगा। दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ योर फ्रिक्शन क्लच। Declutching of friction clutch can be adjusted to suit specific load by loosening or tightening the spring at the workshop. It cannot be done at the site. It should not be done at the site. It should be done only in the workshop. When friction clutch adjustment is to be done, friction clutch requires an adjustment if slipping current or obstruction current is more than 1.5 to 2 times of the normal working current. Let us say normal working current is 2 amps. Then when you have to adjust the friction clutch, if the friction clutch generally is you have to replace the friction clutch, not even adjust. So when you have to replace this friction clutch, if the normal working current is 2 amps and the obstruction current is between 3 to 4 amps, then it is okay. But if it is more than that, अगर 5 amps है, then you have to replace the friction clutch. Similarly, you have to replace when difference between normal working current and current or obstruction is less than 0.5 amps. So as I have told you, normal working current is 2 amps and your obstruction current is 2.3 amps. The only difference is 0.3 amps. In that condition, you have to replace the friction clutch. So if it is between 1.5 to 2 times of the normal working current, your friction clutch is good. Similarly, as per SEM, point machine obstruction draws less than 1.75 times the normal working current. Machine needs to be checked for proper functioning at site. So if it is 1.5 to 1.75 times, then you have to, that is if normal working current as we have taken as example 2 amps, if it is between 3 to 3.5 amps also you have to check for any problem in the point. If it is between 3.5 to 4 amps, which is the best, you need not do anything. Friction clutch shall be adjusted in workshops. Reduction gear assembly. This is the reduction gear assembly figures. So when the inside parts, the reduction gear ratio is 20.8 is to 1. This is used to motor rotate at very high speed and load cannot be placed directly under the motor shaft. So this reduction gear is used to reduce the speed to the required level. Which type of lubrication is required? Here you have to provide oil whenever required. This oil will be getting assembled here and it helps in lubricating the reduction gear assembly. Appropriate reduction gear is used to get required mechanical advantage and thrust. to synchronize various functions. We have to use 100 cc lubricating oil SAE 30 or Shell 100 for 10,000 operations, while for thick web switch you need to use Energizer SHF 48 or Servo System 32. For every 10,000 operations this has to be replaced. Generally this is oil is provided by the concerned authorities that can be used. This is contact assembly with spring loaded rollers. So these are spring loaded rollers which comprise of two contact groups which are fixed inside the casting. These are two contact groups. Function of the contact assembly is to make or break a set of contacts. One group contains two set of fixed side by side. So आपको इस तरह से contacts रहेंगे, ये एक set है तो ये एक दूसरा सेट है. These contacts control feed to the power motor and also detection. These your rollers which are available. So here you can see this is your top roller that is available and this is your bottom roller for the contact assembly. This is the assembly set that you are seeing. Here you have to provide लुब्रिकेशन 1 or 2 drops ऑफ ऑयल, ज़्यादा मत डालिए, एक तो डॉट ऑयल यहाँ पर भी डालना पड़ेगा. Depending upon the position of the top and bottom roller on the periphery of the control disk and detection slide respectively, detection contacts in one group and control contact in another group makes when bottom roller falls in the nominated notch on periphery of the detection slide. सो दीज स्लाइड्स जो भी है वो सेट होने के सही सेट हुआ तो ड्रॉप होंगे, टॉप रोलर और बॉटम रोलर. फॉलिंग ऑफ टॉप रोलर इन नॉच प्रूव्स करेक्ट लॉकिंग ऑफ पॉइंट. सो टॉप रोलर जो इसके पहले देखे थे वो अगर सही है तो करेक्ट लॉकिंग ऑफ पॉइंट हुआ है. Similarly, bottom roller जो भी है, falling of bottom roller in notch proves correct setting of switches. अगर यहाँ पे switches सही है तो ये bottom roller उसके अंदर notch के अंदर गिर जाएगा. Now, when the point is set in normal and locked, normal detection contacts and reverse control contacts are made. Similarly, when point is set in reverse and locked, reverse detection contacts and normal control contacts are made. While its point is not set in normal or reverse, then normal control and reverse control contacts are made. Both detection contacts break. So this is your motor. This is a DC series split field motor. DC series split field. So we are using the same motor for normal to reverse and reverse to normal, anti-clockwise and clockwise direction. So we have split the field into two. It works on 110 volt DC. Series motor is used to meet a high initial torque. Initial torque means initially बहुत ज़्यादा लोड रहेगा, उसको संभालने के लिए we connect a motor in series so that it can take more load. Split field so that the motor can be operated in both directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise. So these are all the main parts of the motor. Armature and commutator is available inside this one. Field windings are provided. Then carbon bushes are provided here. This is the motor body and we have a groove for crank handle also. So let me explain you about the motor कनेक्शंस. मोटर कनेक्शंस जैसे है उसको मैं आपको एक बार एक्सप्लेन करूंगा. देखिए ये यहाँ पे आपका मोटर टर्मिनल्स है. इस टर्मिनल्स को जनरली नंबर दिया जाता है. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन कंपनी टू कंपनी. इसको 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 और 5। सो इन दिस वे मोटर का जो भी टर्मिनल्स है इस तरह से नंबर दिया जाता है. इट चेंजेस फ्रॉम company to company. Generally this, if we say this is for normal, this is for reverse, and this is your common. एंड जिसका नाम जनरली हम कहते हैं एन डब्ल्यू, आर डब्ल्यू, सी डब्ल्यू, एन डब्ल्यू, आर डब्ल्यू और सी डब्ल्यू, इस तरह से हम लोग इसका नाम देते हैं. This common supply 110 volts negative is given here. So this is connected internally from here to here, and we have an external loop provided here like this, and from here supply is connected to your motor carbon brushes. So motor रहता है यहाँ पे, and this is connected to your motor here. नेगेटिव ऐसे आएगा, 3 में जाएगा, डायरेक्टली 5 में जाएगा और मोटर को चला जाएगा. इस CW को डायरेक्टली यहां पर भी कनेक्ट कर सकते हो. नाउ कमिंग टू पॉजिटिव 110 वोल्ट्स, देयर इज ए फील्ड कॉइल बिटवीन 1 एंड 4. यहाँ पे एक फील्ड कॉइल रहता है, दिस इज कॉल्ड फील्ड कॉइल F1, और दूसरा कॉइल फील्ड कॉइल F2 फॉर रिवर्स डायरेक्शन, दूसरा डायरेक्शन के लिए. सो दिस इज फील्ड कॉइल F1 एंड दिस इज फील्ड कॉइल F2, एंड यहां से हमारा एक वायर जाएगा मोटर को. सो इन दिस वे मोटर कार्बन बुशेस को सप्लाई जाएगा और आपका पॉइंट ऑपरेट होगा. द सेम इज शोन हियर. दिस आर योर फील्ड कॉइल्स. यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हो 4 फील्ड कॉइल्स आर अवेलेबल, और इसका वायरिंग ये दोनों को सीरीज में कनेक्ट किया जाएगा, और ये अगर क्लॉकवाइज है तो ये एंटी क्लॉकवाइज हो जाएगा. एंड दिस इज योर negative side with crank handle cutout contact. This is your positive side. It contains 4 field windings. 2 windings are connected in series to form a set of windings, and we use carbon brushes for this one. So these are the carbon bushes that are generally used, available in open market also. So spring force shall be 4 to 6 psi. Motor, in this you have commutator and armature. This commutator is visible for you, and you have to clean this commutator at regularly with using a chemise leather. There is nothing that you can do with the armature. It is only an internal part of the point motor. This is your crank handle cutout assembly. There are 2 sets of contacts here. This is one set of contact, this is another set of contact. Generally they are connected in parallel so that failure हुआ तो भी एक contact तो काम करेगा. These are connected in negative path of the power supply to motor. Contacts break or open with insertion and turning of the crank handle की. यहाँ पे crank handle डाल के आप टर्न करोगे तो इस तरह से ओपन होगा. So this is your crank handle. Normally की लगा के आप यहाँ पे की लगा के टर्न करोगे तो बाहर इस तरह से दिखेगा, और इंटरनली नॉर्मली विथ की इनसाइड, विदाउट की इस तरह से रहेगा, और की लगा के टर्न किया तो इस तरह से ओपन हो जाएगा. हियर यू कैन सी इट इज ओपन कंडीशन. So this is how the key is inserted and crank handle is provided for manual operation of point machine. With this we will end it. Thank you. Jai Hind.